Okay, so I'm going to be talking about corruption in America. We'll just get started. All right, we have actually had a lot of violence and corruption in our past. A few examples have been slavery, race. We see a lot in Vietnam behind the stories. But I'm going to be primarily talking about the Native American genocide. When we came to America, we found these Native Americans here, and we didn't exactly get along. Long story short, we took control, and that was not very good for the Native Americans. A few examples of the things that we did to them, one being the Cherokee Trail of Tears. Over 3,000 Native Americans died in that single event alone. Um, there was a huge death toll and an elimination of entire tribes during this. Not only that, but we set up these reservations, which caused huge problems, mainly because we were taking their land and forcing them onto other land that we set aside. Um, we also introduced a lot of alcoholism, and because of the way we treated them, there was depression, and those. It's pretty obvious that alcoholism and depression are not a good mix. Today, uh, there's still a lot of corruption that we see today. I'm going to focus kind of on this failure to amend our mistakes with the Native Americans. We did issue a formal apology to them. However, past that, there's not a whole lot we've done. There are non-governmental charities to help Native Americans. That's not the United States. So an example of what we're still doing against these Americans is we have these oil rigs on the reservations, um, and basically we're setting these up on their land without their consent. And this does happen to whites too. However, the compensations for the white people tend to be like way higher than they are for Native Americans. This is also I learned this actually last year in Heritage. Is there's a lawsuit from Native Americans to the United States government suing us for the Dakotas, and basically that means um, they we had a treaty with them where they would get the Dakotas just because we set that land aside for them. However, we still took it, and they're trying to hold us to that. This lawsuit was kind of just tabled, and we are continuing to ignore that lawsuit because we can't get rid of the Dakotas. They are pretty essential to the United States right now. Um, and just a huge example of what we've done to these Native Americans is a place called White Clay, Nebraska. It's actually this picture right up here. Um, and I've been there myself, and these people on the sidewalk are drunk and passed out, and you just see that everywhere. And it's just kind of a testimony to what we've done to the Native Americans. Um, Now, besides the Native Americans, we see um, a lot of corruption within it every day. Maybe not corruption so much as just things that seem unfair. And one of these things, especially as for kids getting ready to go to college, is this whole uh, tuition and fees being different for different races at certain universities. This was an idea called affirmative action, and actually JFK came up with this. Um, and what it is black students or Native Americans, Hispanics, all would get different tuition than from each other, and it was taken to court. The Supreme Court rules that it is an okay thing to do, and it does happen. Apparently, I guess about 1/3 of universities do this all over the country, so it's still around. It tends to be that blacks and Hispanics get a relatively higher uh, financial aid than whites, even if they come from the same financial background. Native Americans are another story because there's a rumor that Native Americans get to go to college basically for free. They probably get a lot more financial aid, but we have to understand that the chances of Native Americans going to college or just getting to that point is extremely extremely low compared to other races. Now, I believe myself that this financial aid for different races is okay in order to help the individual students get to college. However, just to boost diversity in your school and make you look better, it's not okay in my opinion. Um, Another huge source of controversy and corruption that Native Americans see is this whole NSA deal. And it deals with the right to privacy, which isn't necessarily stated in the Constitution, but there's certain ways you can read it that makes it look like we do have a right to privacy. Now, uh, the huge subject when it comes to this is the NSA, because we just recently found out more about them through a man called Edward Snowden. Now, Edward Snowden is kind of a man that we didn't know a whole lot about until he came out. He was what we'd call a whistleblower, and that he exposed things within the NSA that he believed were corruption against the American people. And obviously, he got in a lot of trouble for that because he did pose a danger to the United States itself because he really revealed these secrets. Edward said that Americans are being spied on, that the NSA is invading rights of privacy. We're going to look at the NSA's site if we can. I'm going to get this full screen real quick. This is their kind of mission statement, and they're promising here lead an expert workforce. They want to advance and operate world-class cryptologic systems and tools. They want to improve performance. They're using words protect and defend. You see securely share electronically gather information. They're talking about a lot of the security stuff, and it makes on this website you're not going to see anything. They're going to make things sound really positive because it is their website, and they don't want people to be nervous about looking at this. They want to see their some of their statements here: lawfulness, honesty, integrity, fairness. This is kind of things they're saying they stand for, but it's something that the public reads, so they're going to make it sound better. Maybe, maybe it's also very truthful. That's something for us to decide. Now we're going to go back to a video, actually, if I can find my link down here. Right, and this is actually Edward Snowden talking, so we'll see what he has to say, and I'm not going to show the whole video because it's really long, but...
Hold on, Jake.
I'm recording something, can you... Oh, whoa. Is this still recording? What happened? Alright, and here we go. We'll see what this is.
What are some of the positions that you held previously within the intelligence community?
I've been a systems engineer, systems administrator, senior advisor for the Central Intelligence Agency, solutions consultant, and a telecommunications information systems officer.
That's just kind of telling us some of the places he's worked, which gives him a little bit of credibility about what he's talking about here. Now we're going to move on to the next. Now he's going to talk just a little bit about, what the NSA does and what he sees in them. So here we go.
Of Americans?
NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can by any means possible. It believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest. Originally, we saw that focus very narrowly tailored as foreign intelligence gathered overseas. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically. And to do that, the NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system, and it filters them, and it analyzes them, and it measures them, and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends. So while they may be intending to target someone associated with a foreign government or someone that they suspect of terrorism, they're collecting your communications to do so. Any analyst at any time can target anyone, any selector anywhere. Where those communications will be picked up depends on the range of the sensor networks and the authorities that that analyst is empowered with. Not all analysts have the ability to target everything, but I, sitting my desk, certainly have the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
Okay, so we just kind of saw two sides of this, and it's up to you to kind of what you want to believe, who you think is telling the truth, if you think this is right or not. And it is a huge controversy, so whatever side you take, you'd be supported. Now we're going to look at a few other government secrets here, just things that we've thought about. There's a lot of conspiracy behind 9/11 between Vietnam and the Cold War. The king of all these, though, is Area 51. Not a lot's known about it. It's very famous for alien analysis and politics, meaning we think they're meeting with aliens. They're known for creating energy weapons, trying to figure out how to control weather, trying to figure out how to time travel and teleport. But this is kind of what they say about it. There's a video that came out just recently, so here we go. If it'll go, come on. Oh, sorry.
If a phone rings at your car insurance company. Hollywood has long showed an obsession with Area 51.
Welcome to Earth.
From aliens to UFOs, it helped fuel a perception that the government has been holding on to top secret information about this remote facility in the Nevada desert. Until now, it had only really existed in places like the X-Files on television, but newly released CIA documents officially acknowledge the site for the first time. Annie Jacobson spent several years researching Area 51, publishing her findings in a book.
This has kind of become a national pastime and a great debate, about aliens. And the locus of this is Area 51.
But if you're looking to gain insight into aliens or spaceships, you might be disappointed. The report makes no mention of those things. Instead, it says that Area 51 was a testing site for the government's aerial surveillance programs during the Cold War.
Okay, again, not watching all of that because I don't have that much time. But like it said, it may not be everything it's cracked up to be. Then again, they could be hiding things still. That's up for debate. I myself don't believe it's as much as popular media would suggest, and that they're probably telling basically the whole truth on that. One thing about this whole secrets is that the United States has promised that after something like a document like this has been around for 100 years, they have to release it. And one just was recently about the Lusitania. You can ask Mrs. Schumacher about that if you want. I'm not going to go into it now. So this whole thing brings up the question about security versus freedom. Is it better to be free or have the security? This picture kind of shows the negatives of each. Obviously, with security and no freedom, you see a lot of people scared of these government officials. And again, with freedom with no security, you see violence, danger on the streets, and there are definitely negatives to both, but that I would tend to side with freedom. Benjamin Franklin said, "Those who surrender freedom for security will not have, nor do they deserve either one." And I'd go with that because honestly, if you have security with no freedom, you have it. It just seems so pointless. So that is again up for debate, and you have every right to your opinion on that. That's about it. It's my big biography. Thank you very much.